Yes, first, Pat, thank you for joining us. I am so sorry. The DM's life rolled an @1, as I said. You've heard of getting locked out of your house, correct?
Yes. I've done that here before.
Have you ever heard of getting locked into your house?
Okay then.
So I was visiting my buddy Greg Vortek, as I often do on Tuesdays, and we decided around 8 p.m. we were gonna get a meal at the local Perkins because I have a 20% discount coupon. We spent the next 43 minutes trying to extricate ourselves from his apartment because the door refused to open. We had to call the police. They had to break the lock.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when you just okay.
Went to visit my buddy Greg. Tried to leave for food. Could not open the door. The door was locked. The door was locked on us. That basically, when I entered his apartment and I closed the door, the lock broke.
Oh.
There was no. We needed to call the police to get them to break the lock and allow us entry. It was bad.
By entry, you mean
I think you mean
exit.
allow you egress.
Yes. Indeed.
Holy crap, that sounds like a mess.
I've heard of getting locked out of an apartment, but I've never heard of getting locked into an apartment.
Well, that is precisely what happened.
I've been locked out, but never locked in.
First time for everything.
No, that's when you just break out the hammer and chisel.
Right, except that it's a rented property that we couldn't, really do that. And his apartment is on the 3rd floor, and the windows overlook concrete, so there's no, climbing out the 3rd floor.
Jumping out the window, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting, as was then the running around trying to. The lock we tried to replace it with, the locking mechanism was too short, and we had just enough time to return it before we were kicked out of the local Home Depot because it closed. So yeah, it's been a night, but nothing terrible. Nothing cataclysmic has happened, and I am ready to dive into a dice rolling extravaganza.
Yep, and I'll open up my stuff here in a minute, trying to finish what I was doing before I lose my train of thought.
But my train of thought did an anime fall off the rails many weeks ago.
You say it did an anime what now?
You know how in the especially in the earlier episodes of like Pokemon and stuff, they had those the character is standing then instantly like legs up twitching.
Ah, you mean the face fault?
Yes. Imagine a train riding down a set of tracks that there is no tipping, there is no angle, it's just vertical, instant horizontal.
Vertical, and then gone.
Indeed. So, Thunder requested a bit of an extended recap, so while you guys are getting your stuff together, I will provide that. So, the story begins in the southeastern portion of the country of Syri, New Syri, I should say. In the city of Wakota, a barbarian by the name of Bordan was being honored for helping local merchants by saving a trade caravan pretty much single-handedly. In the forest, the edge of the Norlean forest, west of town, a druid by the name of Nexor realized something very strange was happening with the weather, and that a terrible storm was about to strike several hours from now. He began running as fast as he could towards the city, completely forgetting about a meeting with his ranger or elf ranger friend Perrin, that was going to drop off some furs for him to bring into town. Perrin arrived at his cabin, searched for a few minutes, realized that there was no sign of a struggle, and Perrin apparently left with great haste, but of his own accord, and shortly thereafter came to the same reasonable belief that there was going to be again, terrible storm. Perrin quickly joined Bordan and Nexor in the town park, where the award ceremony was being wrapped up, and everyone quickly saw that the weather was indeed turning bad. The mayor...
Not just bad, though. Extraordinarily bad.
Okay. Yes, extraordinarily bad. Then enters Professor Senku, who was slightly dubious of all this, as well as the guard captain, Nestor Felgate, who initially was concerned that the mayor was being accosted. This was obviously not the case. And then all hell broke loose. Crimson red lightning began striking around the outskirts of town, destroying a sign and generally causing a panic.
Wait, I thought Senku was...
You're right. I apologize. I absolutely apologize. Senku was not, in fact, there yet. This is going to be a terrible recap for YouTube, by the way. This is my first time doing one of these. The party that was gathered requisitioned some horses, rode out of town, and it was there that I believe it was Nexor who spotted a strange opening in the ground, and upon investigation discovered a small cave. The party explored this small cave and found a woman chained to an altar, where cultists were dancing around her and every so often nicking her with ceremonial daggers, known as athame. And there was a man tied to a stake, apparently the next person to be sacrificed. A battle ensued, the cultists were slain, the man, who was in fact Senku, was freed. The party left the bloodbath that was this cave just in time to see a very strange sight that the druid recognized as a tornado. This thin, dancing wisp of cloud stretching from the thunderstorm to the ground. And as this tornado weakened and ultimately rose back into the clouds, you saw a final flash of lightning that was in the shape of a pair of eyes. Upon returning to the city, you found it was slightly more of a mess than it was a disaster, though the local church had been pretty severely hit and damaged.
And oddly enough, targeted.
Indeed. You then were told that you might be able to seek answers in the village of Byron, about a day's ride away.
But you know what they say, no plan survives first contact with the enemy.
Yes, we know this. You rode to the Crossroads Inn and Tavern before renting rooms for the night, and struck up a friendship with the bartender after Bourdain impressed him with his ability to drink Dragonfire Ale. The night was uneventful. The following morning, Perrin, being the first one up, overheard whispers of an orc warband and saw smoke in the distance to the southwest. And instead of going instead of going southeast towards Byron, you decided to go southwest towards the smaller village of Corwin, which was about to be sacked by an orcish warband, apparently led by one of the cultists, or at least a cultist was among their numbers. A battle ensued with the warband's leader, who was summarily cut down. Then
decapitation.
Indeed. Then, after a small thank you and ceremony, you were awarded your first magic item in a bag of holding and some gold from Corwin's coffers, and you rode to Byron, where you had been expected by a monk priest by the name of Dauk, a half-orc who was going to do some research for you, and assist you in doing that research. And shortly thereafter, because you arrived late in the evening, or late in the afternoon rather, a battle ensued with 4 werewolves that you ultimately concluded were trying to attack this small church and library. And as they did so, Dauk came to a conclusion and began shouting the name Thomas. Ultimately, he inscribed that name in his own blood as the library was struck by more crimson red lightning from a storm south of Byron and collapsed around him. After a few close calls,
Side note, that same storm also struck down one of its own number.
Indeed. You then concluded, and through that concluded that whatever these cultists are doing that are changing the weather, it required blood and spiritual sacrifice. So another night passed in Byron. Perrin got some new armor, and you were about to set off again when Nexer and Perrin really realized that there was still a lot of energy over Byron, and that you should probably stake it out for at least a little while longer. Lo and behold, a few hours later, a storm formed directly over the village, in which a face emerged from the heavens, a decidedly evil face. You ran all around the village, warning people about it. At first, it was at least semi-friendly, if frantic. Hey, get to cover. There's an evil storm overhead. To pounding on doors, sometimes breaking them, pointing at the sky and saying, "Get out of here, or get underground." A pair of these tornadoes began to manifest out of the face's eyes. One of them reached the ground, the other did not. You then, in the midst of this thing, Bourdain almost became captivated and mesmerized by it, and just was drawn ever closer and closer to the funnel, which you're convinced if he went in, he would die. He was snapped out of this effect by the guard captain Nestor, who got entirely too close to cast a spell at it that seemed to injure it somehow, which is weird because the spell he cast was a lightning spell. The funnel rose into the sky, the face with it, and the storm continued east, causing no further harm to anybody. You performed some medical...
And in the meantime,
Senku
has been working on
Yes,
Project
that's not really
Thunderbolt.
important to the recap, Junkyard.
Sorry.
So you were allowed by the residents of Byron to stay another night, rode back into Wakota, encountered an elven woman who offered to get you in exchange for gold a rapid trip to the capital city of IR, further north, nestled in a mountain range. You paid her the money she asked. She returned an hour later, whereupon she cast a teleportation circle to whisk you there instantaneously. You were allowed entry into the city after you described a peculiar man with a fez you met in Byron. This man turned out to be a being known as Min South. And before too long, you found yourselves in the company of Queen Mira, who is also an elf, a rogue, very aged and wise, who loves to make reference to her adventuring party, most of whom have passed on at this point. And that is roughly where we stand. So, insanely long recap, but we're looking at approximately a month worth of material. So at this point, I require a percentile roll. Who wants to take the party's fate into their hands?
Hey, V. This is just lovely. Percentile rolls. So confusing.
Okay, if no one's going to do it, I will.
30.
30?
Yes.
That's bitish.
I feel like you were sitting on that for a while, Perrin.
I only just rolled it.
Okay.
Crap.
So, Mira, the queen, looks at you all and says, well, I thank you for your services to my country and my people. The accommodations and feast I was planning to have for you will take some time to prepare, and the afternoon is still early. I propose you investigate the Church of St. Thomas.
I like it.
She, she doesn't like formality. That was made fairly clear, but damn if she doesn't look good doing it. She, like, does a salute and then, like, gives you all a very courtly bow and says, "Thank you for your services to your neighbors and your fellow Syrians." And with that, you exit out the way you came.
Out of character, I really like the Elf Queen Mira. I think she's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You're supposed to like her. You are absolutely supposed to like her. So you exit the palace, which again is this. It's equal parts hospital, fortress, and castle. Partially built into a mountain. And the main gates, from the main gates, you have this gorgeous view of huge, huge city. A metropolis by any standards. And on the opposite side of this city, on a small rise, you see a huge cathedral, not quite, but almost half the size of the fortress that you emerged from.
So that's the cathedral. Looks cool.
Yes. Most of the buildings around here are made of darker stone or wood. This cathedral looks like it's made of very old marble. And it stands in quite stark contrast to the rest of the city. Judging by the distance, you're going to be walking for about 30 minutes.
Ooh.
Okay.
Just to get there. And somebody can roll me just a 20-sided die, just a d20. Don't add anything to it, just roll it. A D20. Oh, okay.
I mean, I'd rolled 2 and gotten a 7.
You're not adding anything to it. You're just rolling.
I know.
So
I got a really
you guys
shitty roll this time.
We'll go with the 12, because that was what was first said to me. You guys are walking, and the people here seem pleasant enough. You get a few waves. Bourdain waves back, smiling his big, toothy grin. And shortly, you're about halfway. Shortly before you're halfway to this temple, which now that you can see it, you're like, how did we miss this earlier? Because again, it stands in very stark contrast to the light grays to dark grays and blacks of the local stone, or browns and greens of the wood and earth tones. You admire it. On one level, yes, on one level, yes, the scenery is great. The thing that really kind of grabs you is you kind of think back to Wakota and the number of trees, the thousands of trees that were cleared to make that city. And likewise, the surrounding settlements. You're pretty sure all that area, the farmland east of Wakota, the villages of Corwin and Byron, that all was probably forest at some point. And I mean, you can ultimately decide this. This is ultimately a question for you to decide as a druid, but like, there's part of you that found that grating, because that's a lot of trees they had to chop down to build those settlements. This place, however, you see as many trees and saplings being planted as were probably cut down. This is a city that's designed. This is a city that is by design built to be among the trees, not cut them down and have them scat and have miles of forest stripped. And that definitely rings that definitely impresses you. So,
of course, we know Senku likes the cathedral.
Yes.
Because place of knowledge.
Yes. For new viewers, the cathedral is supposedly the biggest repository of knowledge and spiritualism on this side of the continental divide known as the Ashcroft Mountains.
I thought it was the Norlayan Forest.
I apologize, that is correct. Wow, I'm really not good at this. But shortly after halfway through your trip, to put it very bluntly, all hell kind of breaks loose.
Shit.
You arrive fairly jumbled, large town square. There's not like 4 roads intersecting here. There's like 7.
Oh dear.
To the point that there are actually guards in the center of this thing that are basically directing traffic.
We've got a traffic jam, don't we?
No. I am going to need perception checks.
Oh, good. I'm good at that.
22.
20. The dice giveth and the dice taketh away, eh?
Indeed. 21. Okay.
I don't think we rolled lower than a 20.
No, you didn't. Which is why, as alert as indeed. So, which is why you are more than shocked and surprised when you hear from above you and the guards in the center of this 7-way intersection are quickly are quickly struck from above and almost immediately burst into flame.
Oh, shit! With what? Crimson red lightning?
No. This looked more reddish orange, and it was far too straight to be lightning.
Okay.
Well, is anyone looking up? Very well.
See why we wouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't be. Especially if we're
Alright.
seeing something like that.
Give me a moment. I will show you what it looks like.
Into the campaign pictures with us.
You see quite literally 4 of these.
Oh, crap.
Some sort of fiend. They look fiendish to me. I don't recognize the actual monster.
Well, I'm going to require knowledge. I'm going to require religion checks from people who wish to try and identify them.
Why the hell not? 12.
Sure, why not? 21!
Very nice. Well done, everybody.
Yes!
These creatures are known as cambions. They are, in fact,
starting to figure.
With you guys understanding that, you guys know they are, for all their ferocious appearance, they also look equally alluring, such that you can't help but almost can't help but think of them as attractive. they can fire. They can fire rays of. They can launch rays of fire. And swing a. And jab at you twice with a spear. And
Oh my god!
Spears are all their spears are also charged with fire.
Yep, the go-to fiend thing.
Is Nestor with us? Please tell me
Nestor
Nestor
is
is with us. Oh, good. And are you controlling Bordan right now?
Bordan is going to sort of. My basic standby is Bordan turns into a cardboard cutout. He will not be able to participate in this fight.
He goes poof into nothingness temporarily.
Yep. He is with you, but he will be otherwise occupied, probably trying to help civilians who are beginning to scatter and panic.
Yeah, a weak demon would do that. Or well,
Hopefully we
weak
get
fiend.
some guard assistance.
The guards are the guards are flaming corpses. So with that, I need initiative.
Initiative.
It's been a while since you guys have had a fight.
Plus
Seriously,
3.
dice.
Whoa! I swear I did not do that on purpose.
Okay.
I've got a 5.
You've got initiative, so a d20 plus your dexterity roll. Or dexterity modifier. Bleh.
I got a nat fucking 20.
Okay.
Good for you, I got a natural fucking 1.
So Aaron got a 5.
Oh,
I'll just
yeah!
sit here whistling, waiting for everything to occur.
You got a what? Senku got a what?
23 with a plus 3 modifier. Meaning
Yes,
I
yeah,
got a
yeah.
nat fucking 20.
Yes, we're aware. Believe it or not, buddy, you're not going first.
Let me guess.
Okay.
They rolled nat 20s as well.
Indeed, and they have higher dexterity. Give me one more second to fill this out.
We're gonna need to wrap this up and wrap it up quick. God, I hate it when the dice do that to me.
They also rolled 25 or better on their stealth checks. They rolled high too. Because it wouldn't be fun otherwise.
Which means even if we had...
It would be go here, kill that.
Do fiends get affected by moonbeam?
What do you think? What even is the damage of Moonbeam?
Radiant.
While I don't think there's weakness, there is. They don't have anything against Radiant. Think about fiends. What is the one thing that they should automatically be resistant to?
Fire?
Yes. No.
They're
Most fiends are either
resistant
resistant to or immune to fire. It depends on how powerful the fiend is.
So
And these are
weak fiends.
they're, believe it or not, resistant to a lot of stuff. You guys got high enough on your religion checks. They are resistant to cold, fire, lightning, poisoning, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons.
Yep.
Now, here's an important question for Senku. Senku.
yeah.
Do you recall when we were talking about infusions, about the infusion that would be ideal for Perrin's bow?
Yeah, hold on. Some enhanced weapon thing.
Yes.
Yeah, enhanced weapon.
Don't think that was
Doesn't that
quite
make
the
it-
one.
It wasn't quite the one. It would give me a moment. I'll find it.
As I have to go find it myself. Infusion.
Oh wait, it's didn't we do repeating shot?
That's it.
Did you actually go ahead and do that?
Yeah, I think I did.
Okay.
I think I got repeating shot.
I know
I
you
mean,
got
obviously
it.
there's replicate magic item. There's obviously replicate magic item.
I know you chose it. My point is, did you use it? Is my question.
I don't think so. Not yet.
Okay.
I should.
And this will be
if
more
I
painful.
Did, maybe I did. I'm not sure.
Okay. High or low?
Just go with the fact that
No. High or low? I'll give you potentially give you the benefit of the doubt here.
okay. I'm gonna try high. I hope. Please let this work.
Okay.
Please.
The dice are in fact in your favor.
Yes.
Aaron, you do in fact have the repeating shot on your arrow. You will have
That's
a
makes it equivalent of a +1.
+1 magic weapon, and you never need ammunition for it.
Okay, adjusting dice rolls right now.
Very good.
You're gonna need that.
You're all going to need that. Be thankful I'm a benevolent and generous DM. So,
It means I have enhanced defense and repeating shot up. Those are my two infusions going on right now.
you don't actually have to worry about that. That was something specifically for Senku, in as benefit for Perrin.
Yep.
So, first up is the Cambions.
How do we spell that anyway?
Cambion.
Okay, Cambion.
Yep.
All right, hold on. Let me go into my campaign notes. May the odds be. All right, I'm gonna enter in fighting 3 Cambions.
5, actually.
5.
You're fighting 5.
Shit. Everyone, let's rock and roll.
Okay, so first up is them.
Oh, good. Glad I have that extra health.
Three of them The three of them sort of look at you, all point, laugh, and begin flying due west. The other two dive down, and one is going to attack Senku. One is going to attack Nestor.
Armor class of 15.
You have the enhanced defense up,
Yeah.
so it's actually going to be 16.
Wait, 16 now?
Yep, with the enhanced defense, you turn your armor into
+1.
+1 magic armor.
Plus the fact that I also had the leather armor. I thought it was +2 though.
Leather is 11 plus your dex modifier.
Oh, so it would
Okay.
be 6. Oh, yeah, it would be 15.
Okay, I apologize. You already factored that in. Okay. So this thing is going to swing at you. Huh. And it lunges at you with this, it does this lunging dive bomb with this, with its flaming spear. The spear head sails directly in front of your vision and impacts the ground. There's a nice shattering of cobblestone, and the creature tries to pull it free for its second thrust, only to find that it can't free it until finally it gets it free, but it can't attack you it can't attack you again because it took too much effort to free its spear from the ground. It rolled a natural 1.
And it's like good old natural 1.
Nestor is not so fortunate. Actually, yeah, Nestor is not so fortunate. One attack, the diving thrust comes down right onto Nestor's shoulder. This thing
Ouch.
spins around, tries to land on its feet, and as it does, kind of thrusts with the spear again. But Nestor is still reeling so hard from the first blow that he sort of buckles out of the way. He does, however, take some damage in the form of, I believe it's right, a D8 plus a D6.
Oof.
Nestor takes 14 damage.
Ooh, so he got max.
Not quite.
No, you have to remember there's a modifier on there.
No, it's a 1d8 plus 6.
No, 1d8 plus a d6.
Plus a modifier.
4.
Oh.
So
Good thing
Okay.
that thing is...
Next up is Senku.
Yeah! I'm not too happy with the fact that this thing just tried to attack me, so I'm going to do a sort of, if you will, maneuver.
Right? What are you trying to do?
How close am I right next to the other party members?
Yes. And you were also 5 feet away from this thing. So if you try to cast a spell right against it, you will cast it with disadvantage.
Yeah, so I'm gonna back up a little bit,
Okay.
get off to the side, and it's of course turning to face me. And I'm gonna jam an acid splash right up its crotch.
All right. How far away are you trying to move? Actually,
Eh.
it doesn't matter. As soon as you try to move,
That's an attack of opportunity.
as
Oh,
soon as
right.
you
Then,
move away
you
from
know
it,
what? Fuck it.
it's
I'm
an
just gonna go with
opportunity.
fuck it. There's really only one solution to this. Does Senku have a melee option?
Do you? I don't recall you ever picking up a melee weapon.
Well, I meant doing something regarding melee.
There are two options I see. If you have a melee spell, you could use that, or use something that does not
right, I
require
got
an
Eldritch
actual
Blast.
roll. That still requires rolls that be disadvantage.
Oh.
If you have a spell that does not require you to roll and requires a save instead,
I actually think Acid Splash fits that. Give me 1 second.
Acid Splash.
Don't I
think
get
yes,
caught in the
Save.
crossfire?
Target must succeed its save.
I'll give it to you that you could aim it in such a way that you could miss the party. Make me an intelligence check.
Oh, yay. Shit, 8. That doesn't pass, I don't think.
Okay. You just want to you just want to catch the. You're trying to catch the one that is right in front of you now.
I mean, there is always the option of driving my leg into its crotch.
Unarmed attacks without.
It's what,
Without
D4
any-
plus Dex?
Yeah. I don't think that's a wise idea.
Yeah, your best off would be with
Yeah,
something
no.
that is a save.
All right. So going with the acid.
So I guess I'll be aiming the acid splash so that I only catch it.
Very well. What is
Which,
your
of course,
save DC?
15.
15.
I think. I'm hoping I can drive some acid right up its ass.
You absolutely can. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Yes.
And
And
the
that's
awesome
a
thing is,
1d6.
that is a D6. It's also not resistant to it.
Oh, yeah! Shit, only 2.
2
Fuck.
damage is still 2 damage.
Damage is damage.
He's not
Yeah, I
wrong.
basically just slapped 2 points of damage right up its tailpipe. That didn't hurt it much, though.
I will remind you that there's somebody in this party that likes damaged opponents.
Indeed. Nexor, you're next. You are, I'll say that you are 5 feet away from the Cambion that is attacking Senku.
Who just got acid jammed right up its ass?
Yep, you could, if you wanted, move in and try either your primal savagery or your other new toy, or you could try.
New toy?
I will. Yes. Or you could stay at range and fling another save DC spell at them.
You know, I think Acid Splash is quickly becoming one of my favorite cantrips.
If you wanted to use Shillelagh, you could absolutely do that. Okay. That's a bonus action. So you could still either cast another spell or
Bonk, bonk,
Moonbeam is
bonk.
sorry, yes!
or move in and smack this thing. It doesn't actually add an elemental. Shillelagh doesn't actually add elemental damage to it. It lets you use your quarterstaff with your, in your case, wisdom modifier, and it turns the damage from a d6 to a d8. Okay, so you move in, make your attack roll. This will be using your spell attack modifiers.
Be a d20 to hit first.
Yep, 20 to hit. 11. Okay.
Plus whatever mods.
Did you add your wisdom modifier to it? So that would be 16. Okay. You sort of you sort of twirl and flourish the staff. As you do, it a pulse of green life energy suffuses it. You run forward and you try and crack this this
Shit.
winged human, and as you do, it sees it coming and just expertly steps aside.
Don't tell me this thing is an AC of 20.
No, it probably doesn't.
Not quite.
I'm so glad I have an AC of 15, though. That's gonna really help.
So that was Nexer. Nestor is up next. Nestor is going to. Is that a bonus action to activate that, or is it just, or is it an action? So these things are going to be. These things are fairly high armor class.
I just hope they have fairly low hit points to counter.
So Nestor unsheathes his longsword, does a almost ritualistic ceremonial flourish, presses the palm of his left hand against the base of the blade, slides it up the blade, which begins to glow this greenish white light. And that is unfortunately all he can do at the moment, because that requires an action.
Oh,
But-
spell.
No, channel divinity.
Ah, okay.
So he now has a substantially higher bonus to hit. Like plus 10 to hit. Aaron, you're up next.
Alright, need to know positioning real quick. Where am I in comparison to the Cambions?
You are immediately next to you're immediately adjacent to Nestor. Nestor is on your right.
Okay. This is where
Does that mean the demon would get the Cambion gets an attack of opportunity if he moves?
Yes.
I have a way of dealing with that. The thing I need to figure out is, could I still make a... I have to remember, for ranged attack against a target you're not in melee with, even if you're technically in melee range of another monster, still imposes disadvantage. Because I'd be going after the injured Cambion.
I am gonna throw you a bone on this one and say that you would not have disadvantage because the Cambion in front of you is kind of still in the process of extricating its weapon.
Okay, we'll go ahead and mark the injured Cambion.
Very well.
With my bonus action, and we're going to shoot at the injured one. That's a 17.
Senku ducks.
Yeah, I feel like you guys are gonna hate me, but you miss.
Damn.
You just draw your arrow. You just draw your bow back, which feels weird because you don't have an arrow knocked. But this shimmering, very quickly, this shimmering arrow of nothingness just appears and gains weight as you loose it, and it just goes sailing towards the Cambion, who
we could really use a moonbeam right now.
With a wing, deflects it.
In hindsight, I should have done my other route of it. It's got to be 18 based on that. And based on that, in hindsight, I should have done my other option, which was the disengage action, to back off 15 feet without taking the attack of opportunity. But, oh well. Do I risk it? No, I'm not going to risk the attack of opportunity. So, that's that.
We're screwed.
Well, top of the order is the Cambions. Cambion 1 is going to continue attacking Nestor. Missing hilariously both times. Senku, your armor class is 16?
15.
15?
Shit.
You're getting 2 hits on you.
Ouch. Well, so long, and thanks for all the fish.
24 damage in total as this flaming spear gets thrust once, right into your chest. Kind of knocks the wind out of you. The second time he comes around from the side, gets you right in the ribs.
Yeah, I'm gonna die.
No, you're not. Have faith in your DM. Remember, I want to see you guys succeed at this. So, well, you can now act again. So, take your revenge.
I am now thoroughly pissed off. Eat acid splash up the tailpipe, bitch. See, any whole attractive thing has just gone out the window. Senku is now utterly furious.
Save DC is 15.
Yeah.
Shit.
Shit.
Yeah, you go to throw this thing, and this
Gonna need
fiend,
some help here.
this fiend sees the expression on your face. It mutters something, and then with it almost like very with a grace that is kind of unnatural and off-putting, it flaps in its square, sort of flies up and does an aerobatic maneuver, completely avoids your acid splash and lands down in front of you. And
Senku just says, "Fuck you."
it sneers this evil, toothy grin. Senku, I need you to give me a perception check.
Damn it, dice! Then again, I can utterly accept this. Because my guy is pretty heavily injured, so of course his perception is going to be thrown off. But I just utterly fucked that
What did
one.
you get?
Boy, did my dice really screw me on that.
What did you get?
I got a 7 modified.
7. Okay.
I'm gonna need your help, Nexor. Like, really.
Well, next up is Nexor. So, before you do anything, Nexor, give me a perception check.
Seriously, I fucking hate my dice right now.
18 is good. Please join me in the Dungeon Master chat.
And feel free to share what you've learned.
All right. You see kind of at the base of, and like at the bottom, or not at the bottom, at in between in between Senku's feet, you see something that is very slowly rolling to a stop. It appears to be this pink gemstone, a small pink crystal. Kind of looks like it might be a like a rose quartz, but it looks very finely cut. And with that high of a perception check, you can kind of tell it's also very faintly glowing from within. So let's get back to the main group. And that did not require
info, Nexor.
That did not require any action from you. So by all means, continue. What do you do? It's your turn. You can do kind of whatever the heck you want, and have. You can try to hit them. You can cast a spell. You can Run away.
I think we need Moonbeam on this one.
I'm looking it up right now. I don't think fiends are.
Fiends are not resistant to radiant.
Yes.
Just as an action, you can, or as just for as what's called a free action, you can either point it out to Senku, or you can take your move action and just try to pick it up. All right.
Between my feet?
Okay. Yes. Free action, you look down briefly, you see this very intricately and finely cut pink stone.
I'm guessing it's important.
You have no idea. You're pretty sure you weren't really paying attention before, but you're also pretty sure it wasn't there. And what is the save DC on your Moonbeam Nexer? Very good. They have a decent chance of failing this. Right.
These things are tanky.
Yes, they are. Well, one of them passes, one of them fails.
Both taking damage.
So roll your 2d10 and give me the total. That's 2d10, yes.
And it's just affecting them.
It is, yes.
Good to know.
Yes, I am just assuming that you guys have anyone with even remotely above average intelligence can aim the area spells with enough precision to avoid, especially with how you guys are lined up now. Yeah, you can catch the Nexer can catch them without hitting any of you. Yep. They take so one of them takes 12, the other takes 6.
How bad are they? How bad is that guy hurting?
You can't really tell.
Oh, right, because he's not facing me. Or I'm not facing them.
But I mean, they've got some like energy. They're the searing, the silvery light is kind of burning into them, and they're definitely like their faces are torted and snarling in pain as opposed to, glee. Indeed. However, these are not shapeshifters, so they're not like affected more.
Come on, Nestor, let's see a really good hit.
Indeed. Indeed. And thanks to that channel divinity, my weapon counts as magical. So it will deal full damage to these things.
Yes!
Don't say yes yet. I still got a hit.
Still have to hit.
Which, fortunately, I do. The one in front of me.
That's
I'm
gonna
going to burn a smite on this. So it's going to take... a D10 and a D8. 8. So the dude in front of me takes 11 damage.
Ouch! I'm assuming he's hurting pretty bad now.
I wouldn't go that far.
He's feeling
Perrin.
it.
He's definitely
All
feeling
right.
it. Perrin, you're up next.
Once again, we have to go after the one in front of Senku.
Okay.
That's a 21.
That will hit.
Senku ducks!
Let's go with 20 damage there.
Oh, shit!
Okay. You bury this thing. Bury this arrow. This arrow in this thing's like liver, or where the liver would be. It sort of howls and roars and turns to you, Perrin, with this look of "I am going to eat your face." You heard it, and it did not like.
This means it's gonna go after him!
Thing is, 1d6 plus 2d8 plus 5 does that.
Holy fuck.
It is going to just from where it is in a fit of in a sort of blind anger, fire 2 heat rays at you, Perrin. What is your armor class?
16.
16. Well, one of them, even though he's rolling with disadvantage, does still connect. However, the disadvantage saved you from a crit.
Nice. What is the damage?
6.
6?
3d6. It rolled 2 1s and a 4.
This is acceptable because I rolled a 10 on my con check for my concentration, which is enough to save.
Yep.
So long as they don't do 20.
Yep.
Or more. So that is acceptable.
Senku, you are up next.
I'm going to enjoy another hitting this thing with another acid splash up the ass crack. Oh, and by the way, don't they take extra damage from the moonblast? Moonbeam?
Oh, they do.
On their turn, they do, yes. I have to roll saves. Again, one passes, one fails, so give me the 2d10.
I'm glad I remember that.
Yep.
And I think that's another concentration spell, like my Hunter's Mark.
Moonbeam. Yes, it is concentration.
It is concentration.
Yep. All that means is you can't have, say, it up and doing damage along with, say, Flame Blade, because they both require concentration.
Yeah. And then if you take hits like I did, you have to make a con check in order to, or con save to maintain it.
Yep. They take another. So one takes 11, one takes 5.
God, I love Moonbeam. I fucking love Moonbeam. Oh, and by the way, I'm still doing that acid splash right up the ass crack for that one guy that stabbed me repeatedly.
Okay, I'm rolling its save now. Unfortunately, you're not going to do... Actually, hold on one second.
Doesn't it have to deal with disadvantage?
No.
Normally it wouldn't.
Ew.
However, Senku, give me a perception check.
19!
Okay, you're getting your acid splash ready. And normally it's this, sort of smoky greenish, like acrid color. However, as you ready it, you feel additional energy flowing into it that is not yours. And you look, and it's not that, sickly green color. It is a bright, shiny, almost luminous pink.
Uh-oh.
And you chuck it. And at first this fiend is ready for it. Then he sees it turn colors, and you see the expression on his face go from mocking arrogance to "Huh?"
Oh,
and it just takes him in the face, and you realize that wherever this energy came from, it didn't make it more powerful, but it did give you just that little bit of an edge to where this thing normally would have made it save, but it failed.
roll damage!
By all means.
That is a max damage acid splash right in the face!
Ow.
Okay. Calm down just a little bit.
You turn my headset down.
Sorry, I just got excited. But that is a 6 hit point damage splash right in the noggin. Or hell, why not just aim it for its crotch?
Let's go with the face. Let's go with the face for this one. Yeah.
Senku looks around, looks down. What the hell was that?
That and everyone can now see this with their passive perceptions. There is a very faint but visible pink light source right near Senku's feet. Looks a whole lot like the color acid splash he threw.
Interesting.
Do I get a free action to pick that thing up?
Yes.
Picking up is usually considered an action.
Okay.
Yep. So
that thing is fucking hurting now.
You'd be surprised how only sort of right you are. Um,
And now it's
door.
Nexor's turn to get in some damage.
Yep. The moonbeam doesn't take place on your turn, it takes place on theirs, so you can do just about anything you want. You can cast another non-concentration spell. You could make an attack roll. If you entered if you entered into that area, it absolutely would affect you.
It does not care who you are or what you are, it hurts you.
Yes, it is.
Bash it in the fucking head!
Oh, right.
You could use the spear. You could use let's see, what are your first level spells? You could use produce flame, you could use ice knife, you could use cure wounds on Senku.
Also, I just want you to know that that picture you posted, if that's a Cambion, then it looks fucking ugly.
You have the healing pool if you want. Your healing pool is a D6 is equal to your character level or class level, which is 4. Actually, it should be 4d6 now. That's something we haven't kept up on, and that's partially on me. And as a bonus action, you can devote up to 2d6 to someone now. Yes. Well, you can only target one person.
You can, yeah, I was gonna say you can probably only target one.
Yep. So, but the number of d6s you can send to someone is equal to half your character level. So you have 4, and you can give someone 2 at any 2 at a time now. Whereas before this, it was just 1 at a time. Indeed. Produce flame will do a d6, I believe.
I'm looking that up right now for you. Produce flame.
No, you're right. It is a d8. I apologize.
D8.
I was wrong.
They're resistant to fire, aren't they?
They are, but they'll
still take damage.
Indeed.
Oh, right.
So make your spell attack.
By now, there have got to be extra guards that have seen the commotion.
There are, but no one's really equipped or willing to help you fight fiends. That is correct. You would effectively be using the same attack roll with as you do with your shillelagh.
Yep.
You hit.
Ooh.
I think all of us have a maxed out stat at the moment. You guys rolled really well on your ability. We all rolled really well on our ability scores. So go ahead and roll the D8 of damage.
And
7, okay. All right. It's weird, like the fire sort of washes over this thing as opposed to punching right into it and punching right into it and bursting like it usually does, but you can clearly see that you put so much effort into this one and hits so squarely that it definitely felt some of that. At which point Nestor is up. Nestor is going to swing at the thing in front of him. And thankfully hit. He will not be divine smiting for this one.
But it's still a magical weapon.
It is. And he hits hard. He buries that glowing blade deep into this thing's chest for 13
Ooh.
damage.
Ow! Both of them have got to be hurting at least somewhat.
The weaker one is around half HP. Aaron, you're up next.
All right, gonna shoot again at the one they've been shooting at.
Go for it.
That's a 20. So nat 20.
Nat 20?
Oh!
So crit 27.
Jesus fuck!
Damage.
Good night.
Not so much.
It really does not like that hit.
Oh no, it definitely did not.
Trust
like
me,
that one.
nothing will like that kind of a crit.
Absolutely not. It is at this point their turns again. They
Radiant damage!
Yep, I'll get to that. Thank you for reminding me. I'll get to that in 1 second. Perrin, you bury this thing. This thing goes to like shield itself with its wing, and you just pierce right through the wing skin, and you actually sink this thing right into its neck. And there's this like brief spray of this caustic purple blood as this thing, grabs the wound, turns away, hisses, and it says something. Does anyone have Infernal?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
So you hear this hissing and spitting and it just sounds like kind of a string of vulgarities.
Probably is.
Or
Fuck, shit, fuck, it's good, fuck.
Sorry.
it quickly examines the injury in its wing. And now you can go ahead and roll damage for that moonbeam. Moonbeam is D10s.
2d10s.
Ten total, huh?
It's
Once
gonna
again-
be feeling that in the morning.
Once again, one passes, one fails.
One takes 10 and one takes 5.
God, I love that thing.
So, the one that Perrin just shot that was directly next to, directly in front of Senku, examines its wing quickly, kneels down, and launches itself into the air. Senku and Nestor can try to take opportunity attacks.
And that's
in your case, Senku, you're just rolling a melee attack roll, so it'll be a d20 plus your strength or dexterity, whichever's higher. You do not add your proficiency bonus to this because you are not proficient in unarmed strikes.
14. Oh, cool.
Nestor, on the other
14.
hand,
Oh, well.
just barely hits this guy.
But it hits hard.
It doesn't really hit hard, but it does hit true. And at 4 hit points, Nestor kills it.
Boom!
This thing bends down,
Starts moving and gets killed.
starts to launch up. Nestor just shouts out, "I don't think so!" Swings down, and this fiend sort of bifurcates itself on Nestor's blade. As it launches into the air, the blade sort of stays stationary and cleaves it in two, and then instead of body parts just sort of falling there and staying there, as they're flying, as they're being launched up into the air because they were launched with some force, you see the body parts, or the body pieces rather, disintegrating and just sort of evaporating into nothingness. There's a final poof of reddish black smoke with a whiff of with just a whiff of brimstone.
Ooh, just good night.
That other fiend is not gonna like that.
No, the other fiend is looks, sees that Nestor has swung, and just goes airborne and takes off and flies up to a height of 30 feet.
Perfect. Still in range of Moonbeam, of course.
But he's already taken his radiant damage.
Indeed. At which
But
point,
this
Perrin- oh no, I'm sorry. I'm giving things out of order. It was them. Oh no, he is going to. It's still this thing's turn.
Wait, they get an attack of
You
opportunity
only
on
get
him
one
too, don't they?
You
opportunity.
get
attack.
one reaction per turn,
Yep.
and that refreshes on your own turn.
Yep. That's why this thing got this. That's why that thing. You saw it process that as if it realized that Nestor wouldn't have a chance to make another attack, and that's why it went airborne. And
Perrin gets an
armor
opportunity.
class
attack.
16.
16, huh?
Wait, doesn't Perrin get an opportunity attack too?
Only melee weapons.
I have a ranged weapon in hand. I do not have the ability. It's a two-handed weapon. I cannot unarmed strike.
Damn. Shit.
So
Ah, shit, I just realized I could have done Hellish Rebuke on that guy.
Perrin, this
Yes.
thing looks at you. Its its arms outstretched, palms facing you. This pair of reddish orange beams lance out towards you. You're going to take a total of 15 damage from these.
Alright, and I'd be absorbing elements. And I'm going to be losing my Hunter's Mark. Rolled a 5 on the save there. So that was 15. Half that is 7.
So it would be a 17 concentration save.
No, it would have been a 10, which I rolled a 5.
Ah,
It's either 10 or half the damage, which is whichever's higher.
okay. So now,
My turn.
yep, Senku, you are up next.
Can I just take a moment to remind you how badly this other Cambion fucked up? Because I no longer have disadvantage against it.
This is true.
Hell, I'm going to use that Eldritch Blast spell that I picked up from the Warlock class. And hell yes, I love Maverick.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that would be a what now?
Spell attack, so it'll be a d20 plus your proficiency plus your intelligence modifier.
And does Arcana count in that?
No.
Oh.
Okay, so it'd just be a +5 then.
What's your intelligence modifier?
It's a 5.
What's your proficiency bonus?
2.
What's 5 plus 2?
Oh! Oh god! 24!
20? Or did you get a 19?
I got a 17 plus 7.
Okay. Well, you hit.
And how much damage do I roll?
That is going to be a d10.
Oof! Just a straight D10?
Yes, however, again, something strange happens as you do this.
Oh
You
dear.
perform the energy for the you perform the somatic hand gestures for the Eldritch Blast. As you wind it up, force energy begins to coalesce in your hand. but instead of its normal color, whatever that color may be, once again, once again, a pinkish aura surrounds your hand, and this time you actually kind of notice, but it does not interfere with your casting, and you cast the Eldritch Blast as normal. However, once again, something very strange is happening. It's not doing force damage, it's doing acid.
Interesting.
Ooh.
But you do hit, and you do roll damage as normal.
6.
Okay, this thing takes 6 damage. It does not like it.
What the hell is going on with my spells? This thing is fucking with them.
All right. Nexor, you're up next. Okay, you move it 30 feet higher. You adjust for its position. That is, I believe
Bonus action, I believe.
it's a bonus. We'll look it up in just a moment.
I'm trying to look that up right now.
I've already got it. You can use an action to move it. So moving the moonbeam is the only thing you can do this. Moving the moonbeam is the only thing you can do this round if you want to do it.
I mean, he's still getting hit by it.
Yeah. So if you have a ranged spell, that can work. If otherwise, your best option would then be to move it. If you also have a ranged spell that works on a bonus action, you can do both. But that's very rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of them are going to be action unless they're buffing.
Very well. You do so. So now it is Nestor's turn. Not on your turn, on theirs is when they take it.
At the beginning.
Yep. Nestor, the only thing he can really do is his traditional electrical Eldritch Blast.
Yep, joining in on the Eldritch fun.
Indeed. And miss horribly. Nestor shrugs.
But hey,
I'm not as good in melee as I'm not as good at range as I am in melee, and he's then going to move towards you, Senku. And Perrin, it's your turn.
Gonna recast Hunter's Mark with my bonus action, and then take a shot at this guy who's now up in the air. And wow, with a natural 1.
Okay.
Boy, I'm so glad everyone moved.
You draw your bow. The ammo forms in it, and it's still kind of it still doesn't feel right not having to draw. So you just reflexively pull a little bit more, and your bowstring snaps.
Well,
It is now the top of the order, the Cambians. Please roll for me your damage. Nexer, with your moonbeam.
Oh,
15.
good night.
This thing takes it all.
Shit.
ouch.
Shouts at you, hissing and sputtering. Again, it sounds like vulgarities. And then it does something you don't normally expect. It sort of gives you this elegant, if insult, like it screams elegance and insult at the same time. It bows at you before promptly just darting away to the west at fairly high speed. This thing can fly 60 feet in a round. And it is actually going to use the dash action. So it speaks, bows, and just takes off.
It's out of there. It's gone.
It pissed off fast.
Yeah. So, to be clear, these things had 82 hit points. They were resistant to almost everything. They had an armor class of 19.
Yeah.
And part of the reason for that is they add their charisma bonus to their armor class.
But that thing just noped the hell out of there, didn't it?
Yes, it did, because you brought it from 82 to 31 hit points, and you killed the other one.
Yeah.
So, it is, at this point, a slew of, not guards, but full-on knights bearing the Syrian crest, finally make it onto the scene. Like, some are on horseback. One is carrying like a small wagon, which 6 soldiers pile out of. These guys are dressed in full plate.
Oh, they mean business.
They do mean business.
Senku
By
gives
the
a
way,
salute.
yep. By the way, Senku, heal 20 hit points.
You're kidding. 20?
Nestor was walking over to you to do the lay on hands, which he
Holy
has 20 hit
shit.
points of.
Now I'm up to 33. Senku gives a grin to Nestor and says, "Buddy, you have no idea how much I really like you right now, man."
Nestor, just ask your question, Senku.
I mean, I should be good, but better to be safe than sorry. And then heal Nestor after this with the rest of your.
He could
Nestor
probably
shrugs.
use it.
Nestor shrugs and says, I can take care of myself. I too know cure wounds.
Thank God.
Okay, a D8 and add your wisdom modifier.
And I'll just look at my bow, shrug as I put it away after snapping the string.
You can I'll give you that you can restring it. Restringing it takes an act. It takes a
Okay,
round.
so I'll restring it then.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I'm fresh out of spell slots, so... Wow.
Plus your wisdom modifier, so that's 13.
Do I get any temporary hit points out of this?
No, he's not using his healing pool. This is cure wounds.
Shit. Good God.
13?
Yeah, why don't you just direct the rest of them to Nestor while you're at it?
You see Nestor, he's using cure wounds on himself. It's like this. My wounds are of no consequence. I still have. I still have a healthy amount more.
By the way, just what was the challenge rating on those things anyhow?
5.
I love my fucking cantrips, man.
There's the reason I used up all of my spell slots.
Yeah, they were a little bit rough.
Thing, it also doesn't help that because I would have gotten out of that with one spell slot left. If it had not been for the rolling a 3 on the D20 for the second con.
See, the nasty thing about these things is they're tough. They have a lot of hit points, and they're not stupid. Like,
they're tough, and they also don't move slowly.
No.
Thing is, anything with flying speed, typically they're moving 60 feet if they decide to fly.
Yep.
And that's before you take into account dashing.
Yeah.
Now, as for these knight guys.
Yes. So you're in the process of tending to your wounds and stuff, and all of these knights pile out. One on a big war horse ultimately dismounts, walks towards you. Big Syrian standard, sort of attached to his saddle. So nice big banner, flapping in the breeze. Walks up to you, takes his helmet off. Sort of sandy colored hair, falls over one eye. He smiles and says, "So you're the heroes that saved this that saved this square?"
4 of them still got away off to the west.
To the west.
However, one of them is hurting pretty bad.
Yes.
Interesting. Those things usually revel in destruction and wickedness. It's not usually their nature to flee a fight.
Well, one thing's for sure. They seriously did not like what happened to their buddy.
big heavy big heavy gauntleted hand claps you on the shoulder next to her. This guy, for all his knightly stateliness, looks at you with huge smile. And there is he bears it. You can just tell he holds all of you with in high esteem for what you just did. And he says, "I'm sure it would, but now we have another question. Why did they flee?" By all rights,
That's what's bothering me.
By all rights, they had you on equal numbers and vastly outgunned.
I don't know. That bugs
Good question.
me. I mean, it could have something to do with this crystal thing.
This knight looks at you, raises an eyebrow, and says, "Crystal thing?"
Senku Senku is really not wanting to pick this thing up with his bare hands after seeing what it did to his magic. He's kind of a little wary about this thing. So, yeah, it's between my feet. I'd pick it up myself, but, well, after seeing what this thing did to my magic, I think I have right to be concerned.
All right. You reach down. You hesitate for just a second. You pick it up. There is the faintest, like sizzling sound. As you pick it up, it doesn't. There is a very slight burning, but nothing that you determine to be painful or harmful. It is exquisitely cut. It's pink. If you had to guess, it would be either a fully pink tourmaline or kunzite.
Senku looks at the
looks
crystal
like-
and says, "Yeah, that thing."
Kind of looks like that. But you just picking this thing up, you can tell there are very deep reservoirs of magic within this crystal that you may end up taking a year studying it and not learn everything there is to know about it.
We should probably hand this into the proper authorities. They'll probably know what to do with it.
Just holding on to it, you know that you can just decide to use it and turn any spell any damage dealing spell from its normal energy type to acid.
Just ouch.
Like, you think on it, and you're like, if you were to cast Moonbeam with this, it would be more akin to like an acid rain.
Ooh.
Identical in every other respect. Instead of radiant damage, it does acid.
And the fiends weren't resistant to acid, were they?
Nope.
No, they weren't. Nestor sheathing his sword says, but plenty of other things are. The knight the knight shrugs and says, "You're welcome to hold on to it. We'll do an inquiry to see if it was identified as a missing or stolen item. But if nothing turns up in 3 days," he shrugs and smiles and says, "Finders keepers." Of course, but you are free to keep it until then. But that still brings us back to, why did they retreat?
What is to the west that they wanted so badly?
God, the cathedral. Isn't the cathedral isn't out of character? Is the cathedral west of where we are?
Yes.
Senku gasps. Oh crap! The cathedral.
I am impressed. I didn't even have to make you guys roll for that before you figured it out. Well done.
Say, because that, for me, and this is out of character, 3 of them broke off immediately. That means they want something west. These 2 just wanted to have some fun.
Nestor pipes up, no, I don't think it was having fun.
That was out of character.
Oh. Apologies. So,
I think these 2 were meant to delay us.
Nestor looks at you, Senku, ashen-faced, and I think you might be right. The knight captain you've been speaking to says, we have room, climb aboard.
Senku climbs aboard.
All right.
Let's rock and roll then.
So, on that note, it is almost 2 a.m., so this is a good spot to call it for tonight. We will be able to play tomorrow.
This was awesome.
Initially, I was thinking we might be able to start earlier tomorrow, potentially as early as like 9 o'clock. I don't know anymore how feasible that is, but we will definitely be able to start at the very earliest 11. So if you can deconflict your schedules at 9, please do so. I will not hold it against anyone if they're late, and if we have to start at 11, we'll play Storm Chasers until then. But awesome session.
I don't have anything on my schedule. My schedule is extraordinarily free.
Also, I'm sorry I interrupted you, Pat.
I don't have anything tomorrow except for work, and I should be off by 8.
Awesome. Also, as the DM, I sincerely wish to apologize. I'm a skilled DM, as you can tell, but I am still learning 5th edition myself. So
hey, real life comes first too.
That was a little bit too hard of an encounter for you guys to handle. Absolutely. That Moonbeam is an impressive spell, even when it's not used against shape changers.
Yeah. Honestly, if you're a spellcaster in melee, you have two options usually, or you usually have three options. Two of them do damage, one doesn't. At least that turn. The first option, the fourth, you do have a fourth, which is also damage dealing, potentially. First is to do a melee spell attack, the next is to do a save spell. So, Moonbeam. The third is to take the disadvantage and use your ranged spell. The fourth is to disengage, which you can either do that doing damage and taking the attack of opportunity, not recommended. Or you can use the disengage action to not take the attack of opportunity and back off.
Yep. So
but that eats your action.
Yeah. And I think we may have found a glaring hole in Senku's arsenal, i.e., need to get you some melee spell attack features.
Because if you notice, my choices were very similar. Do I go into melee? Do I go after something I can attack without taking disadvantage? Or do I back off, disengaging and waiting a turn to do the damage?
Yeah.
Which I nearly did.
You said this was a way too difficult encounter for us?
It was way too far out of your guys' leagues, and that was on me. The
fact that we did that at all against those two is just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Perv is, you have to keep in mind, we have some very nasty spells, and then there are some classes that, when done right for damage dealing, are extraordinary when they hit.
Yeah.
And actually, it was probably a good thing that I rolled such a low initiative, although I missed on the first round, because it meant that I did get my full damage output.
Yep. But yeah, those things were no joke. That was
we killed one.
That was technically a challenge rating 7 encounter.
Wow.
So,
and the fact that we pulled that off against two of them is impressive. I'm surprised this actually worked out so well.
Well, like I said, I wasn't going to. If there is going to be a situation where your characters can die, and make no mistake, that will be a thing. That will happen. But I'm not going to let it happen if it's my mistake. If I make a mistake, and I made a mistake tonight, if I make a mistake, I'm not going to hold you guys accountable for it. But I need to get some shut-eye.
That mistake just... Okay. That mistake, even though it was a mistake, it was still awesome, and I still feel a great sense of triumph for what we did today. We kicked the crap out of a Cambion who was resistant to darn near everything, but we still beat one.
Indeed. Yeah. And that was another shortcoming that was kind of unexpected. I wouldn't expect him to be on at all this week. Pat, you missed it, but he threw his back out on Sunday.
Oh.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to be around at all this week, but my and his hopes are high for next week. So, with that, gentlemen, I need to get some sleep. Awesome game. Again, I'm sorry it was a little bit short.
Dude, this was awesome.
It happens.
Not every day one gets locked in someone's apartment. Locked.
And hey, it's not every day four level characters beat the shit out of a challenge rating 7 encounter.
Indeed. So get some sleep, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Yep.
Will do. And once again, awesome. I love this. I mean, the fact that Ben says, I'm impressed I didn't even have to have you roll for that one. Senku just said, "Oh crap, the cathedral."
Yeah, for reference, damage-wise, the longbow with the infusion on it makes it have a bonus to attack of 9. Damage is 1d8 plus 5 without my additional modified rolls. If the target is damage, that's another d8. If I've marked the target and the spell is active, that's another d6. And all those dice double on a crit. So on a damage target that's marked, it'd be 1d6 plus 2d8 plus 5. If I crit, that's 2d6 plus 4d8 plus 5. Which is why they were really not liking the hits. And I wasn't rolling very high in most of the rolls. Like the crit I had a 5, a 1, that's the d6s. 3, 3, 2, 8. That could have been a hell of a lot higher. And the first one was a 2 on the d6 and then 5, 8. Oh dear.
I mean, I just love the fact that it's like even Senku got his own little dig in, and he's like, "Fuck you." I was seriously tempted to just kick one. I was seriously tempted to just get an unarmed strike in with a shin kick to the crotch.
I'd say I would have most characters I would avoid. And when I say avoid, I mean avoid it like the plague. Unarmed combat. Unless you are like a level 20 character trying to beat the shit out of a CR 1/8 enemy. You don't want to be doing that. You might as well at that point be like a level 2 character trying to beat the shit out of whatever that is.
Yeah, just literally, if I probably would have been able to do enough damage, potentially, to make it really hurt. Like, just gets in an attack of opportunity. Boom! And just roll the guy's rocks, and just watch as his legs, just as he's about to take off, his legs collapse out from under him as he feels this astounding pain radiating all the way up from between his legs to his throat. And he just nearly throws up the contents.
There is one class that can do that. And that's the only time I would ever recommend the character be doing unarmed strikes, and that is Monk. Monk is built around just punching everything with their fists. So let me go and look.
How would you say Sen played these things? Like, would you say he played them as demonic, or?
I can't tell you because we did not see much other than they just wanted to kill, or well, not quite kill, but delay. As I said, I've looking at them, they are a fiend. They can be both demon or devil. And they are not Yugoloths, which are neutral evil. So they can be all three. They're one of the few that are somewhere between.
Then with that little puzzling out of the But we're going to show up at the gates of St. Thomas Cathedral with a serious fighting force. It's like the 4 Campions just sitting there. It's like, oh, and the one who got seriously injured just looks over his shoulder and it's like, oh shit, it's them. Or even better, Senku throws out an Eldritch Blast at the things and then boom! Just strikes the injured Cambion in the face, and all of a sudden, the injured Cambion already looks over. It's like, oh shit, not them again.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is the one place where, with extraplanar creatures that I know languages for, I don't have the language for them.
But you're pretty sure it was uttering a stream of vulgarities.
Yep. So, languages that are extraplanar, I have primordial. So, elementals, I have that covered. And I have celestial. So, any good outer plane character, or, well, monster.
And hey, we finally discovered a glaring flaw in Senku's loadout.
You can what? Yeah, common, elvish, draconic, those are all material plane languages. The three big ones or actually there's four big ones now that I think of it, for extraplanar. Those are celestial, infernal, primordial, and undercommon. I think it's undercommon.
Anyway, I'm gonna head off. See y'all.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Yep. Good night. Yep, see ya.